Good morning. The following presentation is on Boston Beer Company's effect on grocery store beer sales. This is for our revenue management class at the University of South Carolina, Darla Moore School of Business. My name is Jeff Guise, and our other group members are Jared Fangue and Matthew Trowbridge. The grocery store that we are analyzing would like to increase its revenues from the sale of Boston Beer Company products. A few strategies that were considered in achieving this goal include increasing prices on the most popular Boston Beer Company products, put more resources into feature and in-store displays, or reduce prices across various Boston Beer products to boost demand. The Boston Beer Company is located in Boston, Massachusetts, and was founded in 1984 by Jim Koch due to a void in high quality and more flavorful beer in the market. Since then, they have enjoyed steady growth and account for 20% of the craft beer market and have obtained subsidiary companies such as Twisted Tea and Angry Orchard. They also offer seasonal and other types of traditional flavorful beers. Traditional beer companies such as Miller Coors and Anheuser-Busch were founded by European immigrants roughly 150 years ago and encompass 70% of the market today. On this slide, we have an overview of our analysis, which is a sensitivity analysis, and then we follow on with a regression analysis on marketing options. Boston Lager and Sam Adams Light are two of the staple products offered from Boston Beer Company and are consistently their top sellers. After cleaning and filtering the data for analysis in Microsoft Excel, we first decided to analyze the pricing of those two popular products, looking at estimating their price elasticities of demand and using an optimization function to estimate the best price for the grocery store to sell Boston Lager and Sam Adams Light. For the competitor comparison, we chose Budweiser for Boston Lager's competition and Bud Light for Sam Adams Light's competition. AB InBev, the producer of Budweiser and Bud Light, is one of the largest beer companies in the world, with Budweiser and Bud Light being their staple products, like Boston Beer Company. For modeling the demand, we chose to use the ScanPro model to ensure we adequately captured the advertising aspect and its effect upon the analysis. Next, we performed a regression analysis in order to determine how demand varied against features, displays, and price reductions. The analysis was done across all Boston Beer Company offerings to analyze the effectiveness of the advertising campaigns and specials that they offered. For the data cleaning and competitor selection, multiple pivot tables were experimented with to come up with a comprehensive summary statistic table to use as a baseline for comparison when running model experiments. Above, selections from Boston Beer Company, AB InBev, and Blue Moon were used for those comparison baselines, as their products were the most similar to offerings from Boston Beer Company. These results became important as different models and data were used to provide an estimate of price elasticities. Here are the results for the Boston Lager analysis. In the table, we used the approximately 52 weeks worth of data from the grocery store to show the amount of sales and pricing across those weeks. Furthermore, a column was included to indicate whether a feature advertisement was used or not that week. We chose to analyze the feature effect due to the regression analysis results, which indicated that including a feature had more of an effect on sales than other forms of advertising or price reductions. The predictions of demand were calculated using the demand model equation, and the square error was calculated based off of the difference between the actual and predicted sales. Lastly, the standard square error was calculated using the solver function in Excel to minimize the SSE value that's shown in the top right-hand corner of the display by changing the values highlighted in yellow, which include the feature effect, owner elasticity, competitor elasticity, and the constant value. For the Sam Adams Light analysis, the same approach was taken, except that Sam Adams Light data was used for the owner analysis and the competitor data was Bud Light. Solver was able to find a solution that minimized the SSE by changing the values highlighted in yellow, which were the same from the previous slide. Boston Beer Company's price elasticities are much more elastic when compared to Budweiser or Bud Light, which are more inelastic. This means that demand for Boston Beer Company's two products will be much more adversely affected by a price increase than Budweiser or Bud Light. This result makes sense, as Budweiser and Bud Light are two beers that have arguably more notoriety than Boston Lager or Sam Adams Light. Budweiser and Bud Light have a much longer history in the beer market than Boston Lager. Furthermore, until recently, in the mid-1990s, Boston Lager was considered more of a craft beer than a mass market beer like Budweiser and Bud Light. The rapid expansion, both from sales and entry into new markets, have moved Boston Beer Company into a category with Budweiser and Bud Light rather than with the rest of the craft beers. Next, on the following slide, there is some further analysis to do with Boston Beer Company pricing at the grocery store to gain additional profit. For the analysis, we use two methods to calculate optimum pricing for both Boston Lager and Sam Adams Light. Expected profit calculations from prices ranging from $5.99 to $19.99, and the Microsoft Excel solver add-in for an optimization function. Expected demand was calculated using the values from the previous ScanPro model analysis, and the variable costs were estimated based off of local wholesale prices and our own estimates as well. However, profit maximizing prices did not vary very much as the variable cost was changed throughout our various analyses. Also, we assume that there were no advertisements for Budweiser or Bud Light when calculating the results. To check the result, we also use the solver add-in to maximize profit by solely manipulating price, which is shown in the second table below the ScanPro demand model. For both methods, the recommended prices were within 5 cents of each other. The average price of both Boston Lager and Sam Adams Light during the previous 52 weeks was $13.19. Our models indicate that the grocery store could be better off by slightly raising the price of both Boston Lager and Sam Adams Light. However, this would have to be weighed against other beer pricing and promotional ads and specials that the grocery store decides to run, or the companies decide to run themselves. For our regression analysis, it was performed on each of the Boston Beer Company offerings to determine which of the marketing strategies was most efficient to increase demand across the various beverages between features, displays, and price reductions. Additional regression analysis was performed to determine correlation of sale price and whether a feature and/or display was implemented. All features for beer products were implemented on the same weeks, and features unilaterally increased demand for both Boston beer products. Therefore, the resulting increases in demand at any time were not cannibalizing other Boston beer products. Features for the Twisted Tea products were implemented on different weeks than the beer products. However, an additional regression was performed to ensure that increases in demand on these weeks was not a result of decreased demand for the beer products. The resulting table from the regression analysis shows that features unanimously increased demand and were statistically relevant with p-values of less than 0.05. Displays did not have any statistically relevant impact on demand. Price reductions were effective for Sam Adams variety packs and Twisted Tea in increasing demand. An additional regression analysis was performed to determine the correlation between features run on one of the Twisted Tea products and an increase/decrease in demand in the other Boston beer products. As you'll see in the table, the p-value for this regression analysis was greater than 0.05, and therefore any correlation between change in demand for beer products and twisted tea features is not statistically relevant. Lastly, a regression analysis was performed to determine the correlation between sales price and cents per ounce and whether a feature or display was implemented. As denoted by the table, the only instance the two were correlated was with Sam Adams Seasonal. When features were run, the sale price was on average 2 cents lower per ounce, which is significant. This needs to be accounted for when determining whether the increase in demand will actually increase revenue, given the increased demand occurs at a lower price point. Conclusions and recommendations. Our analysis concluded that a price increase would decrease revenue due to high elasticity compared to traditional style American lagers, and therefore needed to find another solution. Displays were not an effective tool, and price reductions only applied to twisted teas and Sam Adams variety packs. Features were the only tool that were effective in increasing revenue, and the only option that was available from the data set to determine a proper course of action. Thank you for listening, and have a great morning.